Generational conditioning happens for both women and men, and sometimes it's gone unrecognized. I think now, in this day and age, it's becoming more and more recognized, and more people are becoming aware that the actions that they take, that the words that they speak are down to generational conditioning. I'm Lucy. I'm a peak performance coach and strategist, and I work with the subconscious mind. What I want to look at here is generational conditioning for women and the different areas that that shows up, and some of the things that we might say that have led from that conditioning to what we say. It's almost like when women walk into a room, they feel like they're a guest in the room, whereas a man would walk into a room thinking that he belongs there because that's his conditioning. A woman will look at different areas. This might be her voice, her worthiness, her power, the space that she takes up, and the usefulness that she brings. And this has all been brought forward from the generations from the past, where women weren't allowed to speak up, where women weren't allowed to have a house of their own and own that, where women weren't allowed to vote, and so many things. And in some countries, these things are still in place. How can we change that? What are the ways that we can change that? Instead of saying things like, oh, I'm sorry, I would like to actually say something, or I might be wrong, but, and then you're saying what you're going to say. Because we don't want to look like we are disrupting, we don't want to perhaps look like we are being too loud, being too certain, being too intelligent. And if we were, would we be disliked? Would we be thrown to one side? So we're checking in on all of these things. And I'm not saying it's every woman. It's not every woman, because some women have been brought up in a different way. Some women have been brought up to speak up, to stand up for themselves, to talk about the way they don't like something, and not to be afraid of not being liked because of their opinion. And so it's not every woman, but it is a large amount of women. And so changing the narrative, changing that as we move forward into our new generation, teaching that it doesn't have to be like that, teaching that it needs to be different, that we are worthy, that we can take up space, that we can have power, and we do have power, because there's almost something holding us back, and we're making sure that we're acceptable before we become authentic, rather than stepping into a room, owning the space, which doesn't mean we have to be loud, but if we want to be loud, why not? We can be loud. We can still stay kind. We can still stay in our essence. We can still stay aligned with our values. And because we do that, we're authentic. We feel better because of it. Having the courage to show up like that, having the courage to show up in our full colours is going to take time. It won't be an overnight thing that you can just snap your fingers and you're different. It takes a group of women supporting each other to do that. It takes time and repetition and remembering that it's okay to stand up for yourself, to behave in that way, to speak in that way, to take up that space. It takes time, because all of that generational stuff from the past, to unravel all of that, is going to take time, because it's been there for all of those generations. And if we've been brought up like that, to be kind, to be understanding, to care for everybody before we care for ourselves, that's deeply ingrained. It's deeply embodied in our psyche. It's deeply embodied in the way that we show up. And that almost feels like we're going against what our parents taught us. So allow yourself some grace if you're going for this and you want to change the narrative. If that is something that you feel that you would like support with, then what I've done is I've opened up a women's circle called Bold and Beautiful Women's Circle, and it's a mastermind. And it is a support mastermind talking about these kinds of things, understanding how we can overcome them with different ways and different means from what I know and what I understand, but it'll also be from the other women in the group who have overcome it in their industry. There might be a very male-based industry, from others who have overcome it at home because it was a male-based home. And they've learned to be able to speak up and to allow those conversations to happen that are uncomfortable. But they don't need to be destructive. There'll be another video coming up on screen. I'll see you over there. Think about the things that you do and the way that you behave and see if it is something that you might want to change. And if you do, we can chat. Take care. Have the most awesome day. Bye for now.